Welcome to the MSDW podcast. I'm Jason Gumpert, editor at msdynamicsworld.com. On this episode, I'm joined by Scott May and Jeff DeMaria of Stratos Cloud Alliance, Velacio's Microsoft Partner Program. This episode is sponsored by Stratos Cloud, and Jeff and Scott join me to talk about what to expect in Microsoft's new fiscal year 2022, which really started in July, coming out of Inspire 2021. Microsoft reinforced some long-running messages like its commitment to partners as it pursues commercial opportunities, but Jeff and Scott identify some of the other important messages and announcements like the need to account for priorities around data management, analytics, and productivity in remote work scenarios. And from the sales side, there are new incentives and sales strategies to be aware of related to industry focus and Microsoft's new Global Partner Solutions model. All right. Well, Scott May, Jeff DeMaria, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having us, Jason. We're excited to be here.
Yeah, Jason, thank you.
Yeah, excellent. Well, I'm looking forward to being able to recap some of the interesting announcements and trends coming out of the Inspire 2021 event. The event has come and gone. It's always an intense event when it's in person, but it also comes just after the end of Microsoft's fiscal year. Before we get into the announcements, I wanted to maybe ask you to set up with us a little bit of background from your perspective, or from maybe a partner experience perspective, on what will have been happening in the run up to Inspire, or in the run up to the end of Microsoft's fiscal year, and what kind of perspective are partners taking into an event like an Inspire that's happening, in a July timeframe?
The run up really kind of to the end of the year, obviously Microsoft's fiscal year ends in June, is, exciting because it's really trying to go through and finish the Microsoft year out strong. There's typically incentive programs and things of that nature that are ending, and partners are trying to go through and maximize what they're going to go through and get out of those and make sure they complete all of the requirements. So the end of the year is a busy time at the end of June, and lots of things going on. But then obviously, each year turns to, okay, Microsoft's new fiscal year is FY22. What are the programs going to be? What changes are going to go through and happen? And, how am I as a partner going to go through and be able to take advantage of those? Or what things am I going to have to change? Or what things am I going to have to go through and consider getting into? And how am I going to go through and, make all of that happen, right? Typically at the beginning of Microsoft's fiscal year, there's a lot of change going on within the Microsoft organization, new programs, adjustments to, people and positions. So, you go right from the end of the year with trying to push hard to capitalize on everything into, okay, how do we start planning for, fiscal year 22 to maximize our efforts?
All right. So Inspire, 2 days of intensive review of Microsoft's FY22 plans, as you said. It kicked off, as it usually does, with a keynote from the CEO. Satya Nadella spoke to start things off. What were some of the key takeaways that you heard?
The first thing I pick up on, it was a very exciting keynote, and it was, for lack of a better term, very inspiring, right? Satya really goes through and does a great job at kind of setting the table for the huge opportunity that's out there in front of, Microsoft partners. And then he kind of goes into, talking about some of the key areas that Microsoft's doing and the direction that they're going. And, he always starts things off with Microsoft is committed to being a partner first organization, right? And they definitely still are a partner first organization, and he focuses on that. And the key is that, really with partners make more possible. And, he talks about, the percentage of revenues that are generated by partners that go through Microsoft versus, just Microsoft Direct. But then he kind of spins that to go through and say, we are partners first, but really what we all need to be collectively is clients first. And collectively, if our clients are successful, we'll be successful. And really the focus on that was that we have to go through and really understand who our clients are. And we need to be outcome based and not product solution based. And we need to really be focused and obsessed with making those clients happy and the outcome that they want to get, not necessarily just, the products that we have to go through and resell, which, for Microsoft are are many and great. But, it's really focused on being growth oriented, having that growth mindset and really understanding your customer. And then, it kind of went into, we're in this generational paradigm kind of economic shift, right? In a post-COVID world, every company, has to have, a tech intensity focus. And, it's not just kind of a nice to have anymore, it's a requirement. And really the factor on that is we, as partners, right, have to go through and understand that customer to be able to go through and help them with that. And so, really no longer is it capable for a partner to really just focus on one solution, let's say ERP or CRM or office productivity. You really have to go through and be able to talk with clients across the entire, Microsoft cloud. And in order to be able to do that, a lot of partners, don't have the size or the resource to be able to. You're going to have to go through and have partnerships that are able to help you. And that's really where we're helping partners be able to sell across the entire Microsoft cloud. And so, that generational paradigm shift gets partners focusing on, okay, what areas am I going to have to go through and get skilled up on and get certifications and training? And then, Microsoft is providing a lot of programs for that. And then what areas basically am I going to need to find a partner to work with to help me to support my clients, across the entire Microsoft cloud? And I think one of the biggest things, that you hear from Satya, Jason, is really Microsoft does have the best cloud platform, period, right? It basically goes from multi-cloud to hybrid cloud all the way to the edge. And so, he talks about the Microsoft cloud has the capability, to support clients' entire business operations, right? With office productivity, with business applications, with Dynamics 365, with Azure for, cloud data and storage, and then, everything in between all the way to the edge. I think you'd mentioned currently there's somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 billion connected devices. And that's projected to grow to something like 5 billion connected devices within the next 5 years. And that there's an opportunity, for partners to really, take advantage of that. And so he goes on from there to kind of, hey, focusing on data and artificial intelligence is, another key area for them. And really the democratizing of data is what he refers to. And what that means is that, they want to be an organization that allows clients to use their data, to have access to their data, not be charged for getting their data, and be able to go through and utilize that. He pointed out that in the next 3 years, there'll be more data generated than in the past 30 years in total. And so the opportunity for partners to work with clients to utilize that data and to make informed decisions with that data is going to be key. And that's in, all areas from productivity to business applications to back-end Azure data lakes and things of that nature. So they talked a lot about the Microsoft Cloud Platform being the only cloud platform that can really go through and work with a customer from end to end. And really that, in our post-COVID world, the Microsoft Cloud's really the only cloud for hybrid work. It's built on a platform basically that provides trust, security, and really the openness for integration that clients, are looking for, and all packaged into, one solution, one platform that partners, have the opportunity to service and support, their clients on. So, it was a really exciting and inspiring kind of keynote from Satya, and really set the tone for Microsoft's fiscal year 2022 to continue the expansive growth that they saw in fiscal year 2021. So, Jeff, I know you sat in on that too, and I'd be interested to hear what some of your thoughts are.
Yeah, thank you. Really the big thing with Microsoft Inspire, right, is you want to get aligned with Microsoft and everything that they're doing. learning, listening, and finding the gap. Really, when partners understand what that gap is and whatever service delivery options there are that Microsoft puts out there, is a really great opportunity for partners to find a gap in those types of services. And leveraging the tools with the platform, it just makes it all capable. And just seeing how it's all coming together, watching the whole solution morph just over the past few years, the whole platform, it's really exciting. And, as partners identify those gaps, again, Scott talked about the risk, right? You need a lot of people to be able to deliver on many of these different solutions, whether it be Dynamics, ERP, CRM, Power Platform, Azure, Microsoft 365. There's an opportunity for partners to kind of really understand some of those opportunities that they can see, and then leverage partners that can help deliver on those different areas to help them expand into those service areas. I think it's a really kind of a great time of year. Obviously, every year it happens, and every time you come out of one of these sessions, every time you come out of one of these big announcements, I mean, Microsoft laid it out there right away. They're like, MFA, security. These are big threats that are happening in the world today. And many of our partners, at least many Dynamics partners, security wasn't necessarily on the forefront. Yes, there's roles within the applications that you can assign, but if you aren't using like Microsoft Azure Directory, you're not necessarily thinking about security from like a no trust standpoint. So it's really great to hear that there's different initiatives that Microsoft's doing and being aligned with those initiatives and then further discovering those gaps to really capture that market opportunity. So it's green space for a lot of partners out there. There's opportunities to grow in lots of different places. And it's amazing with some of the announcements that were shared, just the momentum, what we just experienced in this past year of all of our lives and some of the opportunities that came from it.
Yeah, well, that leads me into the next thing I wanted to ask about, which was when it comes to gaps, when it maybe comes to the completeness of what Microsoft has that partners can draw on in terms of what's happening in the world today. So whether, like you said, it's some of the greater awareness of security, it's the ongoing issues around COVID, and whether we're in a post-COVID world or maybe just preparing for a new round of problems and challenges. I mean, however that kind of bears out. What do you think partners see as sort of the real world opportunities, maybe a little more specifically? And what did, on the other side, Microsoft suggest partners be focused on?
Thinking about some of the momentum, some of the announcements, right? Work from home was a big deal in this past year. We may be going through another scenario as well coming up here to make sure that everyone's engaged and being able to work from home securely, critically important. Now, the big tool that was out there that had tremendous growth in this past year was Teams. I mean, we use Teams every single day. I couldn't imagine working without it. Being able to collaborate with team members all across the country, all across the globe, seamlessly and easily, the productivity, I feel like, is just skyrocketed. Now, what's really interesting with this opportunity is now there's 145 million daily active team users. That's a huge stat. Then you bring in some of the announcements that they shared with Dynamics 365 integration with Microsoft Teams, and that's the opportunity, right? You start bringing those systems together. There are 145 million Teams users, and that way surpasses the entire Dynamic user base, right? So in identifying the gaps, trying to figure out how these systems best work together, providing the right information in front of the users with the right outcomes. I mean, those opportunities are just unlimited. We've seen a tremendous amount of traction lately with our partners dipping their toes into new service areas, which just seems huge. And I think just leveraging that momentum, trying to connect all the systems, all the data with the Power Platform, common data service, it's a fantastic opportunity as these solutions kind of converge. What Microsoft is saying and what reality is happening, it's the truth. These things are happening, and it's crazy exciting watching some of the success that our partners are bringing to the market here.
again, I think to capitalize or to add on to what you're talking about, Microsoft talked about even creating a new product category, right? Which they call, the employee experience. So, they're investing because of basically this, post-COVID world and all this remote work and, everything else of that nature. They created the employee experience category, and, they're kicking that off with, a product called Viva Insights, which is going to help those remote workers basically go through and be able to connect better. And I think they threw out some stats that 73% of employees certified want more remote work capabilities, right? So they want things like Viva to help that remote work be easier. But obviously, remote work, you've got issues with trying to collaborate with folks. And so 60%, 67% of those folks surveyed want more collaboration capabilities. So Microsoft's investing in that, and that's a huge opportunity for partners to explore and get into. And on the D365 side, as you were mentioning, Jeff, right, 145 million daily active users. They threw out a bunch of other numbers about millions of users that they have on Office 365. The penetration rate of the Dynamics 365 solutions into that client base is only 1%. And so if you think about that, there's a huge opportunity to get Dynamics 365 solutions into more of those clients with CRM solutions, with Power Platform solutions, with ERP applications. So there's just a tremendous amount of opportunity out there for partners, across the entire Microsoft cloud stack. And really that's where we come in and help out partners, right? Is most partners don't have the capabilities or resources to do that. So we're supporting partners to help them get involved in Office 365 with Teams, with Power Platform. And so they can go after their clients with no experience necessary, if you will, by partnering with us, and we're helping them continue to grow their cloud revenue, across the entire Microsoft cloud, Jason.
When it comes to some of those updates that you mentioned, I have to absolutely agree with you that some of the sort of new and upcoming integrations with Teams are really huge. I think the Dynamics 365 data availability in Teams and Viva as well really kind of put a stake in the ground about where Microsoft's headed, and that's only probably the beginning of kind of bringing more and more enterprise data into Teams. I think that's just sort of one of those huge priorities for the company, and perhaps one of the signals that partners can take away too, right? As an opportunity. And that's what I wanted to ask you about next was Dynamics 365 opportunities for partners. As we said, you can't ignore Teams, but there's a constantly growing range of options. What are some of the other themes or announcements related to D365 that you noted?
Well, I mean, D365, continues to grow, rapidly, right? And so, Microsoft's fiscal year 2022, they laid out some kind of, focus areas that they want partners to work on. And, one of those is, enhancing technical skills. And they're going to do a whole lot of things in helping partners get technically skilled up. They refer to it as skilling. So if you get a chance to watch any of the Inspire recordings, you'll hear a lot across everybody's presentation about skilling. And they're actually doing some training and certification weeks coming up, I think in the late August timeframe, that we can get partners information on if they're interested. Another key focus was, for partners to differentiate themselves to really be able to attract new opportunities. And really that differentiation was getting into industries and getting into, verticals specifically where, again, your customer, their needs, their, business, right? And really that's what's going to set you apart and allow you to be successful. And then there was a lot of focus, on driving, new customer ads. I think that gets back to the penetration question, or not question, but point I made where, D365 is only in 1% of all Office 365 clients. So Microsoft is looking for partners who are going to be growth mindset, or have a growth mindset, and really, drive that net new customer ad. And then, the fourth thing was, really focusing again on customer outcomes and needs, and not products and solutions, if you will. And then they went into some of the key areas, basically, which is industry focus. And Microsoft is continuing to go through and drive down into industries. They've got their industry clouds, which they're rolling out, which they've got industry clouds for healthcare, which is already out. In the coming months, you'll have industry clouds for retail, financial services, not-for-profit, and manufacturing. So Microsoft is working with partners to create those industry clouds, which encompass, the entire Microsoft cloud platform. And really being able to get involved in those with Microsoft is an exciting time. They focused on, really developing what they called, go-to-market by, solution areas. So they're going to be investing in go-to-market programs for different product solution areas that partners can then pick an area, focus on, and get skilled up, have go-to-market programs that they can automatically run. And we're doing the same thing as an indirect provider. We're working with partners to provide them, a 3 simple step training series. We're doing marketing campaigns to just help partners go through and do that, driving customer ads, quicker and being able to sell, across their entire client base, the whole Microsoft cloud. And so, another area that is large from a D365 perspective is the D365 suite of customer relationship management solutions, from customer engagement to customer service and field service. As you had mentioned, right? Teams is now integrated to Dynamics 365, and you can get access to that D365 data through Teams at no additional cost. So Microsoft basically is making that available. And, they continue to focus on what they call, their better together, or kind of hero solutions, right? Where they're integrating D365 with Office 365 and all built on the Azure platform. So, I think there's a lot of opportunities for partners to capitalize on the investments that Microsoft is making. And, again, there's a huge amount of, investment that Microsoft's making. A lot of times figuring out where that is and how to do it is critical part. And that's what we're working with partners to help them on, as well. One of the other key areas was mentioned, from an IP and an ISV perspective. So they're encouraging partners to go through and get IP and go vertical and to get their solutions out onto the Microsoft marketplaces. And so they announced that the transaction fee for Microsoft is dropping from 20% transaction fee to 3%. So they're obviously wanting partners to go through and invest in their IP, get their IP, out onto the Microsoft marketplaces. And in addition to that, they're going to be working with, indirect providers such as ourselves, so that, those solutions can be integrated with our marketplaces seamlessly. And so that it makes it a lot easier for partners and ISV to get their solutions out there to the, 90,000+ CSP partners that there are across the world. Jeff, I know you had a few areas in the Dynamics 365 space that you wanted to cover as well.
Talking about how we first mentioned the gap and finding that opportunity, bringing in the industry solution and the reduced transaction fee, right? We want to find partners that are really committed to an industry and help you get there to help attack it with world-class solutions. And that's the kind of power that our partners can kind of bring to market, and working with us to help deliver on those types of solutions. So would love to have some serious conversations regarding those pieces to help bring those solutions to market. Now, the other announcements that were kind of made in tandem in line with Dynamics 365, there's a lot of big SKU changes in the CSP world, right? I don't know if people were aware or not, but Business Central now, they pretty much voided the database storage fee, which was kind of causing some people to slow down their transition to the cloud. There's also the announcement with the BREP CSP Enhancement Plan renewal offer that help drive a lot of clients to the cloud, at least during their CSP business, as long as with partners as well. Well, one of the other big things that came out during this time frame is now the new Bridge to the Cloud promotion, which is helping accelerate clients. It's helping partners transition their business to the cloud, right? Everyone's got their core competency. Everyone's working on what they're really good at. By understanding the full breadth of promotions that are out there, the incentives, helping partners get there, it's just a great opportunity. And if no one's heard of the Bridge to the Cloud campaign, it's basically breaking up the enhancement plan renewal from the on-premise world of Dynamics and bringing that into, monthly payments versus a full out maintenance renewal at once. It provides flexibility and it helps drive a path to the cloud, and then just, again, pulling in all the different pieces together and seeing the convergence of the platforms happening. It's really exciting.
I think, Jason, one of the other things that they had talked about, with the growth of Dynamics 365, I think there's somewhere in the neighborhood of 250,000 plus now D365 and, Power Platform clients or organizations, using that. So, there's just been explosive growth, within D365, but there's a tremendous greenfield opportunity, as I'd mentioned before. So they're really needing partners to pick up the D365 banner and, get out in front of their clients with it. And that's what we're here for to help with.
Yeah, for sure. That was a big number to see, and clearly it shows how both the D365 side and the rest of the Power Platform are really having an influence today. And even broader, I guess, this term, the Microsoft Cloud, which obviously incorporates those, but kind of all up in the context of the world of work. That was another theme that we picked up on at the event at Inspire. What was Microsoft talking about here when it comes to the Microsoft Cloud in the world of work? Jeff, do you want to take this one?
Absolutely. So, there's lots of sessions regarding, the cloud built for the new world of work and dealing with that. That's kind of where we got some of our information with the Teams integration and with the number of Dynamics 365 users. What is just, I feel like we're beating the dead horse on this one, but there's just the new world of work is Teams. It is collaboration. It is getting on these Teams calls and working with people, maximizing that downtime by switching within applications to be able to access data from one single tool and the new world of work. People are connecting from everything. It's not uncommon, right, for someone to log into their business applications, their work applications from multiple devices. This whole world with the zero trust initiatives that are out there, leveraging the security platforms, there's really a lot to consider with businesses. And as we're going to the cloud, some of the security measures that are in place they're really there to help businesses win. And I know we're being a little vague on some of these topics. What's really helpful is just being able to kind of work with partners, partnering together, being able to leverage the expertise of specific product teams to be able to help guide and to help drive expanded cloud conversations with customers. So it's just, how are you going to help approach this? How are you going to make your clients easier leveraging these solutions?
Yeah, I think to add into that, Jason and Jeff, they talk basically kind of about the new world of work, right? And that the people who are coming into businesses now, right, and starting businesses now are what they refer to as digital native. They're not coming from a on-premise world, that Jeff, Jason, you and I, were used to. They're not transitioning. That's how they're starting out. And so, they've got different expectations. They've got different kind of views of how things have worked. And new businesses, right, they don't want to go through and start out the old way. They want to start out the new way. And there's definite advantages to that, right? They don't have to make the investment in, the old systems that the business is used to. They can go through and get started more nimbly and agile with less cost, and they can be more productive right out of the gate. One of the key things that they did mention as well, which I don't think we touched upon yet, but was announced, with, the Windows 11 release, right? They call that the PC in the cloud because of the way that they're structuring that. No longer will you have to go through and send a PC to your home office to get configured and then have it sent back to you, basically. They gave an example of far-reaching areas and countries where, it used to take weeks to go through and get people set up because of that. And now they'll be able to do it in hours because basically they'll be able to set the Windows 11 PC up in the cloud. And then it'll be able to be used wherever, that employee goes, right? Whether they go home and they get onto their home computer or they're traveling somewhere and they get onto a computer and, everything basically will just go with them and be there. And so it's, really a different world going forward with the new businesses, the people who are getting into businesses, the way that the Microsoft cloud is being structured. I think one of the other things that they had mentioned too, from a partner perspective, Jason, was they studied it and they said in 2021, only 30% of partners, worldwide had really made the transition into the cloud and driving cloud solutions. So, there's a whole lot of partners. They expect in 2022 that will grow to 70% of the partners in the market that will be transitioning into the cloud. So again, just a huge opportunity for partners and for partners to help other partners from a P2P perspective, and that there's just fiscal year 2022, Microsoft is expecting to be just another fantastic growth year for them, and the cloud basically is the new world of doing business.
When it comes to the ways that Microsoft is planning to partner this year and the ways they talked about it at Inspire, we talked about P2P to some extent, but what are some of the other mechanisms, plans, programs that are most important going into this new fiscal year?
They talked, as I had mentioned before, from a partnering perspective, Microsoft is big on focusing on kind of a co-sell motion, right? And so, that's a big area of focus for them from a partner to partner perspective, and working with them as a partner. They want more partners to have, industry solutions that, they can go through and put into the co-sell program. And, the co-sell program is really the way to go and get industry focused and verticalized, if you will. So, they're putting, a continued focus into driving that. From a partner perspective, they're continuing to develop, as I'd mentioned before, really, more go-to-market plays. They call them PIBs, or plays in a book, if you will, that partners are going to be able to utilize. There'll be sales plays that are customer outcome focused, that are going to allow partners to take that information, market, talk to their clients, and, across the entire Microsoft cloud. Microsoft's always been big on, partner to partner. So they're, heavily involved in the IMACP, which is the International Association of Microsoft Channel Partners, who actually did a debrief on Inspire as well. And that's available and out there. And Stratos Cloud Alliance is a partner with IMACP. In addition to that, we're doing things on our side to help partners get connected with other partners who have vertical expertise or industry solutions specifically that they want to resell through us as an indirect provider ourselves. We've got partnerships with hundreds of ISV partners that have add-on solutions that extend and enhance the Dynamics 365 and the entire kind of Microsoft Cloud platform of solutions that we support and help partners resell through us and get access to. So the message really came out from a partnering to win, that most partners can't go through and do all of the Microsoft Cloud, but you need to be able to understand it and have partnerships so that when you're talking with your clients, you have the ability to bring those partners in and help, make yourself more sticky with the clients that you're working with, basically build more trust, and be that trusted advisor that, that partner or that client's going to look to bring in and say, hey, these guys can help us out with the entire Microsoft Cloud. Because the last thing you want to do is, have somebody else potentially come in and take your seat at the table, if you will, because another partner's talking to them about a solution that you never mentioned. And then, oh, by the way, they do these other solutions as well. And, that client decides to, migrate to that partner. So, I think the move from Microsoft made an announcement they're changing from what they called OCP or One Commercial Partner to what they call GPS or Global Partner Solutions now. That's just more focused on working with partners because that's what they wanted in the name. And so, there's just more of a focus from Microsoft on trying to get partners to work together in order to go through and capitalize on the tremendous opportunity that's in front of us all.
Well, what about partnering with Stratos Cloud Alliance as you talk to partners in your network as new partners approach you? What is coming up next for you?
Yeah, and as I mentioned, Stratos Cloud Alliance as an indirect provider, we're working with partners to support the entire Microsoft cloud. We've got a deep specialization in the Dynamics 365 business application space. So, we've got partners that are Dynamics partners that haven't made that, digital transition yet that we're helping, move into Dynamics 365, from on-premise solutions. And then, we've got what we call our 3-step kind of simple enablement programs to help them start getting involved in other areas of the Microsoft cloud. So they may have expertise with ERP, but maybe they want to get into Azure or they want to get into modern work. We can put them through enablement programs that we created to help them get up to speed in those areas so that they can talk to their clients about those solutions. And then we're backing that up by, providing pre-sale support, custom implementation support services that they can leverage through us. So, they don't have to have the expertise. They can really go through and get into other practices, with no experience necessary, if you will. And then we've also got, Jason, we've got MSP partners who have traditionally been doing Office 365 or Azure that are now getting asked by their clients, for D365. And so we're helping those partners get into those areas of the Microsoft cloud with, our 3 simple step series on Business Central or customer engagement or the Power Platform, and really helping get them educated to be able to have intelligent conversations and help those partners go through and continue to expand across the Microsoft cloud, build their, reoccurring revenue stream further. And again, really be that one-stop shop, if you will, for all things, on the Microsoft cloud for our partners. And, we continue to develop marketing programs that, our partners can run through our partner portal. We've got a state-of-the-art e-commerce marketplace that, allows them to easily transact and bill and invoice and, maintain all of their client subscriptions. So we're continuing to make investments. We just hired Jeff Edwards, who's our new senior VP of our indirect channel. And he comes from Microsoft with 17 years of experience. And so, those are the types of investments that we're making to continue to work with our partners who are part of our Stratos Cloud Alliance partner program and really help them grow their business as well.
All right. Well, yeah, so much to take in from a couple days worth of a virtual event. Still an important and pretty intense event, even in a virtual environment. Jeff, Scott, thank you both so much for taking the time today.
Yeah, Jason, thanks for having us. And, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. More than happy to have any conversations. But, I would agree with you, Jason. This, Inspire, even though it was virtual, was one of the most exciting, Inspire events that participated in the last 10 years. So exciting time ahead for everybody in the Microsoft partner ecosystem.
Thank you, Jason, so much for having us on the call today.
This has been another episode of the MSDW podcast. My thanks to Jeff and Scott for joining me today. For more information on Stratos Cloud partner offerings, please visit www.dynamics365partner.com. And that's it for this episode. If you want to get in touch with me with comments or ideas for the future, please reach out, jgumpert@msdynamicsworld.com. You can also follow us on LinkedIn and on Twitter. Until next time, this is MS Dynamics World, signing off.